Artificial intelligence is opening up new horizons, and corporate and commercial banks can leverage its power to increase operational efficiency, enhance customer experience, and redefine operating models.
It's those corporate and commercial banks that successfully scale artificial intelligence who can stand to gain substantial rewards from AI adoption. We're joined now by Matt Cox, Global Corporate, Commercial and SME Banking Consulting Leader at EY, who's here to talk about this in a little more detail. Matt, always great to have you on.
Yeah, great to be back.
Welcome back. Hope you're enjoying yourself here in Frankfurt. Now, tell us why EY's chosen to focus on corporate and commercial banks, and why now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So about a year ago when we were talking about this, we had surveyed 1,800 global CFOs and treasurers to really understand what they were going through, what were their challenges, and where they wanted help from banks. Over 90% said AI was something they were ready for. They wanted AI in their treasury operations. They wanted AI to help them be more efficient. And that's a huge signal for demand. So this year, what we decided to focus on was how are the banks progressing against that? What are the positives? What's happening well? What are some of the challenges and struggles they're actually going through in terms of getting ready to meet this AI demand? And look, at the end of the day, I think AI is going to transform what is happening in commercial banks. And so that's what we heard out of the survey as well. And so we've recently developed a commercial and AI survey. And what that survey said is it's about efficiency, but it needs to be a lot more. And we can talk about that as we continue to go.
And what exactly have you found there? What is the most significant value of AI that can deliver to corporate and commercial banks?
Yeah, so corporate and commercial banks have a lot of complexity in their products and services. They have a lot of challenge from a risk and regulatory perspective, an increasingly large amount of data. Those are all things where AI really, shines, right? AI can actually help bring all that together to drive efficiency. And efficiency and cost savings is going to be what you hear a lot about. I think it actually extends beyond that, though. It's not just about efficiency. It's not just about cost saving. It's about how can you transform the client experience and the way clients see the banks. And so AI's value is going to be about providing insight around kind of simplifying the banker interactions, enabling them with insight, and how do they move from, just kind of service providers to clients to more trusted advisors to their clients, and AI will help enable them to do that more efficiently.
Let's talk about the top 5 critical areas that corporate and commercial banking leaders should be prioritizing when deploying and scaling AI.
Yeah, so the first thing everyone will say is technology. I actually kind of flip it on the other end. I think it starts actually with client outcome. And I didn't say client experience. You don't have to give AI to the clients because there's worry around we need to make sure AI is trusted, consistent. But the outcomes can be driven by implementing AI for your employees. So how do you get faster time to decision, faster time to funding in terms of what you're doing? So starting with that client outcomes piece, I think is critically important. The second piece is really around the business enabled. So how do you actually make sure it's not just AI from a technology, but it's business enabled and the business teams are actually driving where and how to prioritize that. I think the third piece is really around, if you think around data, how do you actually take individual use cases and scale those up to create an end-to-end platform that enables a commercial bank, not just an individual use cases you're thinking around it. And then the last piece is the people, right? So how do you not just implement AI for your employees or clients, but how do you change the skill sets and how they're using AI to more efficiently deliver those services, both the technology, but also the proposals out to clients in terms of how they're trying to win business.
I'm really curious to know, how should corporate and commercial banks approach measuring ROI when it comes to AI initiatives?
Yeah, ROI is a tricky one, right? Because the easy thing from an ROI perspective is let's look at cost, right? This is going to drive cost, but AI delivers so much more, right? AI can deliver customized insights for RMs. It can deliver, more focus on client experience and client satisfaction and that stickiness on the back end. And so I think when you think around ROI, it's important to look at it not in a short-term perspective, but a long-term perspective. People often overestimate the benefits they're going to get in the near term and underestimate the benefits they're going to get in the long term. So ROI, the important thing around ROI is looking at it in a long-term horizon and making sure you're not just building for today, but you're building for tomorrow. The future of commercial banking is going to be AI-enabled businesses. And if you aren't investing in that now, it's a bit table stakes, right? Similar to how digital platforms have been over the years.
What sort of challenges are they finding when accurately assessing this at the moment?
Yeah, so look, I think a lot of it comes down to the kind of the near-term cost estimates that they get. When you have to build foundational capabilities, there's a lot of cost associated with that. So the first use case they deliver is often quite expensive. And so, maybe I'm able to reduce, a couple people working on this process. Was that really worth the investment? Again, that's why you have to think around it end to end and not just for today's use case, but as you start to string together across processes, across business functions, how are you actually delivering that value? That's where you actually see ROI, not in an individual use case you deliver, but in the end-to-end process that you transform from the client all the way to your back office functions.
Now, currently, centralized technology teams drive AI investments in most banks. Should alternative models be considered to enhance AI facilitation?
Yeah, I think 100% is the answer to that. So from a technology perspective, they are very effective at looking at how and what are the right things to start with. But that often, again, focuses on efficiency and back office functions. It's got to be flipped, right? So this needs to be business enabled or business focused and technology enabled in terms of the way you look at it. So if you think a few years ago when you were looking at agility and how you brought teams together, that's what's going to be most effective for an AI, and it's actually a broader set of teams. It's from risk management to the CFO organization, to the CIO organization, to the CDO organization. So bringing all those teams together is really where you're going to be able to deliver the value and see the biggest change that you're delivering from a client satisfaction perspective.
What are the prevalent pitfalls that are preventing commercial banks from achieving success in their AI endeavors at the moment?
Yeah, there's a lot probably with everything we talked about. The biggest thing I think is the move from pilot to production. So we find people get stuck in, I've delivered 23 pilots and I have nothing into production to show for it. And so in my opinion, you have to focus on, what is that one use case I'm going to build at? Now, you might say, well, my data quality is not ready for AI. That might be fine, but maybe you should use AI to enhance the quality of your data, right? And so you can start to ingest that into your process. Now your quality of your data is increased. What's the next thing I need to do? But if you aren't moving production use cases in, you're going to continue to struggle to demonstrate the business value, the ROI, and other things we talked about throughout, and get the investment you need to go forward.
Well, Matt, it's great to see you again. A really interesting chat, as always. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes here on Sibos TV. Once again, Matt Cox, Global Corporate Commercial and SME Banking Consulting Leader at EY. Enjoy the rest of Sibos.
Thanks. Great to be here.